Tate. I'm here to review Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 11, Episode 13. We start off the episode. They're still on the cast is still on their trip, and we start off where we left off with Martell and Maurice still going at each other because of the rock that Kimmy threw and hit her hand. She started all of that. And then they going back and forth and she gonna sit there on her throne. Well, I told Maurice, I'm sure she's gonna remember that if things go off the rail, he's gonna have to handle it. Everything was fine until you brought up that you was he laughed about something and um and I didn't appreciate it. You the one started all of that. And this is the thing with Martell. She knows this. Martell, listen, I'm not trying to take him from Martell at all because I got issues with him, as we all do. But when you're right, you're right. When you're wrong, you're wrong. uh Kimmy started that, and Martell is the type of person he go from 0 to 50 real quick, and when he get at 50, there's no bringing him back. He gets he very angry, and it's hard to calm him down. Destiny over there trying to calm him down, and then the Fletcher, Miss Fletcher, she trying to calm him down now, and he cussing and he just moving, and Destiny pulling on him, and he pulling away from her like Destiny. But we gonna find out later that we'll say Destiny was a little tipsy. Um, and so it just goes, it goes all the way left, and then finally Mark so says, "Listen, we just need to table this. Let's just table it and just, So they finally calm everything down. Um, the next day, everybody is talking about what happened the night before. We have Destiny and Will sitting down talking, and Will is telling her, he said, you seem to like confrontation. You seem to like, to debate, and you kind of get, I forgot the word he used. He was trying to like say she gets combative, I think. And she said, I don't get combative. I do like to debate. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And I get that. I get what Destiny says. I don't think she's combative. I think she's a straight shooter. She's the type of person who's just not gonna let you tell her anything and make think it's sweet. And I don't see no wrong with that. Um and then next we see Martell and Marceau. Marceau and Tisha went to walk and they went to take a hike and they're walking. And so of course, she's on Kimmy's side and saying, that Martell was wrong and all of that. And Marceau said something Marceau, he get on my nerves, but he come out, he can be really level headed sometimes. I ain't gonna even lie. He said Martell was not laughing at the wreck. He was laughing at the story that Maurice told. And that's true. Kimmy tried to make it seem like, oh, he had a concussion, in which we ain't. I don't even know what the concussion. Did that was that concussion a part of the initial conversation? Because I don't even remember nothing about no concussion. She tried to make it like act like he was laughing at the concussion. No, he wasn't laughing at the concussion or the situation. He was laughing at the story because the story didn't make sense. It was everybody at the table laughing, and she didn't have a problem with that. So yeah, that's what Marceau was saying. Like he didn't do that. He said, however, you keep poking somebody, then of course Maurice gonna come back at you because hurt people. So Tisha's like, well, is that how you see it? Is that how you see it? He said, yeah, that's how I see it. And I agree with him 100%. So next up we see uh Ken Will goes over and talks to Ken, and Destiny brought him over there because they cabins was kind of like right by each other and stuff. And he goes over and Will goes over and talks to Ken. Before that though, Mar- Martell Martell did have a conversation with Mr. Fletcher. I can't think of his name. Mr. Fletcher. And they were talking, and because Nell was upset. Miss Nell was upset because Martell cussed her out, and she like, I wish my husband would take up for me because she was trying to, you know, de-escalate him, and he cussed out. Listen, the best thing to do with somebody like that is just, especially as a woman, stay out of that. Stay if you don't see a man stepping in, stay out of it because he's Martell's one of them people when they get angry and they get mad, they just kind of black out. They're liable to say anything. So just next time, Nell, just don't even try to help. Just step away from. Don't even try to help. You too, Destiny. So, but I thought it was real funny that Martell could have said, "Well, yeah, I'm gonna apologize to Nell when I see her." Um, because I didn't mean it. I was just angry and escalated. He didn't say that because he should have. But we see next Will and Ken are talking, and Will Ken and Will are talking about the day before when the men got together and talked about their whole situation, and they were both saying that the Scott brothers, well, not just the Scott brothers, because Martell too. It's like the guy. He said the guys they wanted me to feel the way they claimed they would have felt if somebody spit the block, and I'm just not gonna do that. And I don't even think they would do that. People say a whole lot of what they gonna do, but when they really faced with the situation, they don't do that. And that's true. That's true in life. Um, People say, oh, I would leave this person if they cheat on me, and then it happened, and then you don't know, whatever. And he was like Ken said, we were on a break. She did her thing, I did my thing. Let's just, we gonna come back together and just, have understanding with each other. He also said that he was telling Trisha that some of the decisions that she made would come back to kind of haunt her with the divorce. So I'm wondering, did she have to pay because she's still over there. Trisha's sick, honey. I don't know what happened with that divorce. I wonder did she have to pay her ex-husband something or give him some property or something. They're not telling it all, but it's to me it's more than just the fact that they divorced. It's something else that happened with the settlement or something, and I think it's gonna come out eventually. But because it was kind of strange for him to make that comment. I told her some of the decisions she made in the past would come back to haunt her. So, you know, because it's kind of hard to get off your hard-earned money to give to somebody you don't, you divorce and you decide. I know men do it all the time, but I'm just saying. I wonder what actually went down. So next we see Kenny has this exercise, this team building exercise for the guys where they go. It's the old heads and the new heads. So it's Marceau, Martell, and Maurice against Ken, Will, and Mr. Fletcher. They and they have to put this like picnic table thing together, this wooden table together. So that was kind of cute, and it was kind of good because I think a lot of time men just come together. They can fuss and fight and cuss each other out, and then the next day go to the dang ball game together. So they work together well. Maurice Martel and Marceau, they won. They worked together well, and it was just like nothing ever happened. Nobody apologized. They just went on and worked it out, worked together, and just act like ain't nothing happened. So before that happened, there was a scene with Marceau and Maurice. And Marceau is still feeling some kind of way. And he is telling Maurice that, I feel like when Tisha and I built the company together, that it would be something for both of us to do. And now I just feel like she's not like helping me out. She's not pulling her weight. It's not something that we do together, I guess is what he's trying to say. And so Maurice gonna say, well, it's the same thing with Kimmy and I. And I asked Kimmy, what does it take for me to buy you out the company? And he said, and Maurice was Marceau was like, oh, you asked me? He said, yeah. And I'm like, what? You know, Marcel sitting there like, yeah, maybe I need to do that. I'm like, no, do not do that. Don't do that. I'm like, Maurice, I know you did not fix your mouth to ask Kimmy, what does it take for me to buy you out of our companies? Kimmy, come on over here, sis. You ain't tell us that, Miss Transparent. When was that conversation? Because you act like it's all gravy over at your house, like it's all good over there. You mean that man had the audacity and the unmitigated gall to sit there and ask you, what does it take to buy you out of a company? When you was over there taking care of Monster while he was in school at night school and working, and you that was your contribution, okay? That was okay. You nothing. You can't buy me out. And that's what he said. Kimmy said, oh, you can't buy me out of the company. I know she said some other choice stuff too. Okay, because I hope she did. And that that's rude. How dare you? We are married. What are you talking about? That's crazy. And the fact that Marceau gonna go think it's a good idea to go back and ask Tisha. Now listen, Tisha get on my nerves and she be falling for the okie doke. But sir, ain't no, she is not she do have a couple of master's degrees. She ain't gonna fall for this. This is insulting. If she don't take it as an insult, I don't know what is. So that's why Miss Kim is sitting up there. And we're gonna see later why she say what she say. Because you married to an attorney, honey, and he done already figured out that if y'all do get divorced, you gonna leave here with what you came, much nothing. If he gonna ask you that doing the while y'all married, just imagine how he would try to rip you to shreds if y'all were trying to get a divorce. Girl, and I think that might be why he did that, to let you know that, in case you ever start talking crazy about, wanting to get out of here and wanting to get a divorce, just know it ain't gonna be all sweet over here. I am an attorney. So next, they go to dinner, and this is after the team building thing. The whole it's a last, I think it's a last night there, because this is the season finale. I don't know if I mentioned that. This is the season finale. The reunion is next week. Sorry. So they all get together and go to have dinner. And dinner's going fine. Ken brings up somebody asked Ken, I don't know who asked him about spinning the block or something. And Ken explained it. He said we were not together at the time. We were on a break. She did what she did. I did what I did, and we fine. He said everything's been working out fine for us, and Trisha smiled at him, and then he said we getting along fine. He said, however, there's certain people who keep trying to say, trying to like don't seem to want us together. I want us to break up. They keep saying like, y'all not even married. Why you even going through all of this? And that was he was throwing it at Martell and Marceau and Maurice. And so um uh Trisha's teacher said, I do want to apologize to you for bringing up that whole DM situation when I brought that to Trisha, because people say things about my relationship all the time, and I should have known better without proof, and I should have known better. And then Ken said, well, yeah, because yeah, you're right, people do say that. I mean, I've heard a lot of things about Martell. I said, uh-oh. I said, uh-oh. He said, yeah, I've heard a lot of things. And here go Tisha, well, what have you heard? He said, well, just this and that. I know a lot of people heard. No, what did you hear? She asked that man about three times. And so Marcel's sitting over there fuming because he like, you. And so she said, "Now, well, what did you hear?" He said, well, I heard things about, the back room at Black. I said, what? Do tell. The back room at Black. I said, I thought it was the office. at the law office. That was a long time ago. So this current, he said, yeah, people say like having Diddy parties. Well, not Diddy parties, but I said, oh no, Ken, you didn't say that. Who said that? What's going on at Black? And so after he said that, Marceau said, uh, but you Marceau told Tisha, he was mad. He was like, well, you begging him. You up here, people say things all the time, but you up here begging him to tell you. And Tisha's like, I'm not begging anybody, girl. Yeah, you was begging. You was begging. You wanted to know because you asked that man about 4 times until you pressed that man all the way up against the wall till he had to say something. You like Marceau say when people say things and you know it's not true, why would you just keep asking, well, what is it? Just don't even say nothing about it. He ain't want that out. So what's going on here? I think there's some truth to that. I wouldn't put it past him. I, put it past him and Maurice at all. Period. And you know what? I think that's why what's his name? What's not Monster? What's Kenny's son name? He moved, didn't he? I think he moved to Colorado. But I think that's why he really wasn't that fond of Maurice because he's at an age where I'm sure he heard things, out in the streets. He know that he ain't all the way legit with his mama. But anyway, so um, then Kenny says, "Well, since we're all at the table, I want to be absolutely transparent. If anybody has anything they want to ask me." Martell said, "Well, what's your deal breaker?" Let me tell you something. Martell petty as heck. Okay, he is so. That was the get back from that night before, heifer. Cause I ain't crazy. I know you the one. You the one started that whole mess last night. So what's your deal breaker? Well, I used to say, Kimmy. I used to say, you know, um, when we first got married, infidelity. But since we've seen so many other people's divorces, and she looked at Martell. Who else got divorced on the cast? Who else you talking about? Well, I mean, because we can't even really count Destiny and her husband because they weren't even married that long. Um, we've seen so many other people's divorce and how it affects their children. Kimmy, your child grown. That ain't gonna affect your child. And we've been through so much counseling that now I don't think it would be necessarily be a deal breaker. Girl, talking about deal breakers off of deal breakers, ma'am. That's all well and cute and all, but no, ma'am, absolutely not. So what you and Martell say? So I'm glad you say that. That basically, infidelity is not a deal breaker. I said, that's what she said, and she trying to make it like, well, yeah, deal breakers off of deal breakers. Girl, that's not cute, Kimmy. That's not cute. If your man is cheating on you, that's not cute for you to say that. And because you know why you saying that? Because you know you're gonna leave there with absolutely nothing. That's what it is. Because he done showed you his hand, and he done showed you that pimp hand, and let you know, oh, you can act like you want to divorce me if you want to, but baby, don't forget, I'm an attorney. And you see just how you see how he had turned a couple of weeks ago on Marceau talking about I got some paperwork that'll make you act right. He got some paperwork for you too, Kenny, because you acting real Stepford wifeish over there. You acting real Stepford wifeish. You acting like, oh well, he whatever he do, and I'm not leaving my house. And some women are like that, but most of the time women maybe like that when they have kids, young kids. You ain't got no young kids. So you just I don't know. You just backwards. Anyway, so then Martell asked Tisha the same question. And Tisha was like, oh, I absolutely believe fidelity. And he already know I because I said it before. And they flashed back to this a long time ago when Mel and them was all at that dinner. And Tisha said at the time, if a cheating on me, infidelity is um is a deal breaker for me. And Marceau sitting there looking under, like, oh, okay. Girl, also sitting there like, girl, you just don't know. 'Mm. So then we go to the final scene of the show. It is Marceau and Tisha. They're gonna sit down with their little glass of wine by the little fire thing, and they fixing to have a conversation. And Marcel starts to tell Tisha that he feels like she is not contributing. He feels alone in the business. He feels alone in the business. And if he thought at one point that it would be something for both of them to do and both of them to share and spend time together at the business. And he don't feel like she's been really contributing a lot. So how much would it take for me to buy you out? And she say, what? He said, what you mean? He said, I'm just saying, like, what do you see your value is as in the company? My value. And so she says, well, I contributed a lot when a business first started, to build us up to where it is now. But now you have a team of people. And every time I try to say something or to contribute, you say, oh, so and so's got that. They're already doing that. So she says, so I just kind of back up because it seems like you push me away every time I try to, make a contribution. And so he's like, well, I just feel like, you always want to say, about date nights and us going out together. You don't see how hard I work. I'm out in 100-degree weather. It's raining outside. Father's Day, I'm working. I'm doing all this work. And then you come to me and ask me, why is your stuff not done yet? And I say, ding, 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 ding. There it is. There it is. When she asked him about her business and why it wasn't done yet, that really, really, really ticked him off. It it I don't know if it ticked him off or it hurt him and it's so funny how in life, I think we all do that sometimes. We deflect. People can come to us with something and we don't want to discuss it, or we don't want to say, hey, I didn't like the way you did that, or hey, that hurt me, but we'll just let it simmer. We'll just take it on in and we'll just let it simmer. And then we maybe start acting out in different ways or saying different things. But at the root of that is what was brought to you in the first place. And at the root of that is that's why he mad. That's why he's upset and all this talk about, well, she don't even, and I guess he thinking it's not, you don't even contribute to the company. You don't know what I got going on. You're not even trying to help me. So, and you got the nerve to come ask me what's going on with your office. You see me working and you see me putting in all this time. I get that, Marcel, but I mean, just like with Kimmy office, and that's what Tisha said. Tisha said, well, you need to do a better balance, and that's true. I understand you busy. Maybe you need to hire some more people, Martell. You need to do Marceau. I'm sorry, Marceau. Maybe you need to hire some more people because you can't just keep letting people stuff sit there. I mean, I know it's your wife and your sister-in-law, but hopefully you ain't. I hope you're not doing other people. You can't be doing other people's businesses like that because they would definitely try to sue you for breach of contract or something because that's crazy. You probably maybe you taking on a bit more than you can chew, and you maybe need to hire some other people, and that's okay. But you can't just say, well, you should just understand. And then he hits her with like when you call me some days and be like, come, can you meet me for lunch? Let's go to lunch. And I say I'm busy or no, then you get an attitude. Instead, what I would like you to do, why don't you just pick up some lunch and bring it to me? And she said, I brought you lunch several times. I brought you lunch a lot of times. And he said, I'm trying to tell you how I feel, and you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. And she's like, I don't understand. I don't understand what are we talking about? What is going on? He's like, I told you a long time ago that I feel alone. And so they did the flashback to when he was saying, like, I go to the gym alone. I work alone a lot of times. I'm on the phone a lot of times. So when I tell you I feel alone, then you say, oh, well, I don't want you to be lonely because that could lead to cheating. He said, I didn't say I was lonely. I said I feel alone. But this my thing, Marcel. God dang it. This my thing, Marcel. Why you be going on trips by yourself? I'm like, Tisha, you act like you want to push the lady away. Why you be taking trips by yourself? Or this last time you took a trip with your son, but when you went to Africa, and look, I understand people be wanting time apart, But do y'all go on trips together? Because we don't see that. Do y'all do that and they just don't show it? Because you could take yourself and you ain't just going down the road. You going overseas. You using a passport to get away. So what are you doing? What and that's what I would have asked him. Tish, I would have asked him, well, what do you see as your value? Because what are you doing to try to make us this couple that you said you dreamed of us, working together and being together? What are you doing to do that? But anyway, he blows it away because she's sitting there and she start crying, and he's like, I just don't understand. I just shouldn't have said nothing. He go with the whole patronize. I just shouldn't have said nothing. I should have just, I should have left it alone. No, I that's okay. I should, maybe I'm not smart enough to articulate how to say how I feel. I said, oh, here he go, gaslight. And she's like, I don't know where we go from here. I don't even know what to say because I don't know what to do. And so he walks away and she's sitting there with her wine glass and she's crying, and that's how it is. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with them two. Like I said, this is the season finale. I give this episode I'll give it a B. Um, Overall, I'm gonna say this: Trisha and Ken, y'all really don't have to come back. I'm just not. I'm not feeling them. If they come back, they come back. If they don't, it's fine. I think we need a new couple up in here somewhere. Kimmy, girl, I'm so tired of your holier than thou um attitude, and you're not enjoyable anymore. But I know you're not gonna get y'all not going nowhere. But if we could see less of them, Carlos, that would be cool too. We need somebody else. I don't know. Um, Ken was asking Will, how did he feel about Destiny? Like, do he think him and Destiny could make a good couple together? And oh, I forgot to say this too. When they were at the dinner table and they were talking about marriage after they talked about the deal breakers, then Will interjected and Will said, "Well, I got a question. Are y'all happy? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Are y'all happy? Because sometimes I see a lot of y'all walking around here and y'all don't look happy." I said, "Damn, Will." He said, "Y'all don't look happy." So here come Tisha. This before Martell bust a little bubble. Well, I think you have to weigh the good with the bad. And it's if it's way more good, and Maurice, yeah, it's way, way, way more good. Is that what you tell Kimmy? You got it good. You got because you got made over here. If I step out a little bit, but you got we got way more good than bad. Is that right? Okay. I don't know. Y'all don't be act. Y'all be faking the funk. Y'all don't be happy. And Nell Herb said, "I'm very happy." Okay, y'all ain't happy. Stop it. Y'all putting 20 on 10. Y'all content, but I don't know if y'all really happy. Come on now. Come on now. Um, so anyway, back to Will and Kim when they were talking. So Kim was asking Will, do he think he and Destiny could do he think he and Destiny could, be a couple or something could turn out to it? And he said, Will said she's very attractive, she's a beautiful woman. He said, but after seeing her last night, because Destiny was tipsy. He said the way he said, I think she fell asleep a little while at the table. He said, I was like, well, I don't know if I can handle. I don't want to handle that. He said, I think it's best for us to just stay friends. And then Kim was like, well, yeah, y'all stay friends, and then maybe eventually it'll turn into something else. The man said, and he said, and he also said, Will said, I think she's ready for a husband. She ready. He's saying, I'm not trying to be nobody's husband right now. And he being honest. And so but then kids are like, well, y'all be friends and it maybe turn into something. The man already said, I hate when people do that. Stop pushing people together. Leave that alone. Okay. Leave that alone. No, I don't think they need to be together. So I don't know who's gonna come back for the next season 12. But next week we have the reunion. I don't know if the reunion is 2 episodes or if it's just 1 episode. But the season overall, I'm gonna give it about a B. I mean, it had some highlights, it had some it was just okay. But It's not what it used to be. Love and Marriage Huntsville used to be one of my favorite reality shows. It is not giving what it used to. And I hate to say this, I really do. But some of the highlights was when Martell was on there. And see, that was that Mel and Martell magic. And I know a lot of y'all don't like Mel. That's cool. But one thing you can say about them two, they had screen presence and they brought the energy. They brought the energy. Some of them episodes when Martell wasn't on there, it was real slow. It was real slow. I feel like Destiny brings a lot of energy too. I like her on the show. Um, but we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see what they can hopefully rejuvenate and bring back on the show, because they're gonna have to do better than this. Because I'm telling you, it was. I feel like the show went from, like, in my mind, it went from like a 10 to maybe like a 6 or a 5.5. So, but I will be back here next week because I want to see, they show a couple of clips from the reunion and it look like it's gonna get real juicy as it always does. So thank you so much for listening to my review. I appreciate you spending your time with me, and you have a great rest of your day. I'm out.